You see the building behind me? Is a symbol of the most powerful office in the United States. And I would venture to say quite possibly in the world. We use that building in the movie to symbolize a stronghold in the country. Today, this building is being occupied by someone who has the least respect in the world. Someone that the world no longer seeks guidance from. Ironic, isn't it? You see, for as long as we can remember, since its existence, the United States has always been a country that the world, well, all the countries in the world look up to for guidance, for help, as ally. Even our enemies recognize we have a system of government that, who knows, one day they might want to emulate. Today, however, the world cannot run far away from the United States of America. The only allies we have, or the only allies we're left with, are a few dictators such as Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and of course Netanyahu, now an indicted head of state. The United States has fallen really very, very, very low. And the reason is because in 2016, most of us went to the polls to vote not for the country, not for the future of the country, but rather for an individual. The race was between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Well, it is always between two people, isn't it? Now, I'm not here to debate who was best, but we have in full display the least competent individual who has occupied the Oval Office since the existence of the Republic. We have a serial liar. We have a corrupt individual, someone whose interests are only to himself. It is a sad story, but it is the story. So the road to 2020 cannot be a repeat of the 2016. There are already dozen Democrats candidates lined up to challenge Donald Trump for the office of the presidency. Now, we know politics is dirty. We cannot expect anything different. We cannot expect anything less. You see, in the past, we could rely on the people to make the right decision, especially when politicians decided not to. Unfortunately, if anything, the 2016 has taught us is the people, the very people who are supposed to help preserve the integrity of our nation, to safeguard our future, to make certain that politicians, yes, those who aspire to public office, respect the Constitution respect the rule of law, and most importantly, show loyalty for the country. That's not what happened. 2016 not only provides us a candidate who doesn't have any of that, but even worse, the people who supported that candidate didn't have any such either. They were disloyal. They cheered for foreign interference. They cheered for foreign entity to interfere in our elections. They even encouraged foreign individuals to meddle so that the election could be tilted in their favor. That is not patriotism. We know they are not patriots because any patriot would know that you cannot support a foreign entity in your system of government. Besides, if you do that today, then you cannot complain tomorrow when the shoe is on the other foot. As such, we have been witnessing the erosion of our democracy. Yes, it's because there are millions of people who are ignorant to think it's better to have an ignorant individual in the Oval Office than to safeguard the integrity of the Constitution of the United States. Yes, people who think it's better to have an ignorant individual in the Oval Office than to safeguard the integrity of the Constitution of the United States. Yes, I know it's harsh words, and I know what should be expected as feedback, what should be expected as comments. But if you've been watching this program, you know I'm not an individual who shies away from calling the devil by its name. It is ignorance that put us in the predicament we are in today. Yes, it is ignorance that has put the country in the predicament it is today. The decision that were made to cast a vote for the current president of the United States were not made with knowledge, were not made because the supporters are smart. They were made because those individuals express ignorance. Those individuals, they express lack of patriotism. So it falls on the Democrats at this point, fully, solely, completely on the Democrats at this point, to redeem the United States of America, to pull the United States of America from the bottom of the pit it has fallen. Yes, the country has fallen to the bottom of the pit. Now we are in the company of dictators, of authoritarians. But this is not new. We were there before. You may recall that in 1861, a civil war erupted, and the reason is because there was one group who wanted to stay on the wrong side of history. So this is not new. We've been there. We've seen it. There are always this problem in the United States of America. But fortunately, at that time, there was also a group who decided that no matter what it took, they had to fight and win for the sake of future generations, for the sake of the integrity of our nation. So the road to 2020 cannot be just another presidential race. It cannot just be a race to remove Donald Trump from the Oval Office. Yes, that should happen as well. But it has to be a race to restore decency in America. It has to be a race to restore decency in the presidency, to restore decency in the Oval Office. And what that race means is people who are patriotic, people who have knowledge, people who understand that our country is worth much more than an individual, especially one who doesn't give a damn about the country, especially one who is not loyal to the country. A few days ago, you may recall, we heard from someone who knows the current president very well. His personal attorney who served him for over a decade. He said bluntly that Donald Trump is not loyal to the United States of America. Yes, it's going to be a fight between those who have knowledge and those who don't. It is going to be a fight between those who continue to cheer for ignorance and those who want to get ignorance out of the way. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fierce fight. We expect that. We already seen the line drawn in the sand. There is a fight coming. But what is much worse than ignorance is not to know the degree of one's ignorance. Is not to know that one is ignorant. And the past 2 years have taught us that indeed where we are at today, that's the predicament the country is in. Those individuals who continue to support Donald Trump despite all the damages he has caused to our nation, to our institution, to the rule of law, is a sure sign that the country cannot rely on the ignorant to help move the country to preserve our democracy for the future generation. 2020 cannot be just another presidential election. Decency must be restored in the building behind me. Ignorance cannot help. Ignorance is useless to society. It's a danger. It's the biggest threat to any democracy. JFK said that the ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of us all. We've seen it. We're living it. So let's make 2020 a year to reset the country, to put the country back in a path of knowledge, of progress, and to work to eradicate ignorance from within the constituency in the Republican Party.